the things that you guys are going through. If you notice, they talked about the enemy and what's going on and how tricky the enemy is. Let me see your hands if you are going through some things. Raise your hands. Don't be bashful. Just raise your hands. If you're going through some little issues, concerns that may be going on, thank you for being honest. Okay, listen, we all do that. We all are going through some things. FCA, what I like about FCA is a place that you guys can come and you can talk about those issues, those concerns. Talk about what's going on in your lives as students, as young people, as athletes, and keep a balance in your life. So I want to encourage y'all to continue to come and doing that. But this morning, I got a question for you. This box, I carry it everywhere I go. Because it reminds me of myself. It's March Madness. Y'all been keeping up with March Madness? Basketball? Yes? No? Don't care? Okay. Listen, one thing that I love about March Madness, the one thing that I love about it is the underdogs that come out on top. For some reason, I've been, well, I know what the reason is, but I love the underdogs winning all the time. When I go for teams, except for Virginia Tech, I go for the underdog. Okay, I don't care who's playing. I'm always going for the underdog. So, and there's a reason behind that. It's because me personally, all my life, I've been an underdog. Okay, and I want y'all to understand what I'm saying. I've been an underdog according to what man says, according to what people think, according to what people see. I've always grown up as an underdog. I was born into a family where my father was not around. Okay, my dad wasn't around, and I grew up with my mom and 3 sisters. That's an underdog. Right there, you know, in one bathroom. So that was really rough right there. Thank God I'm a male, okay? Y'all will get that in a minute. But anyway, being an underdog growing up, you know, there's a lot of reasons I was an underdog according to man. I loved sports. Number one, I loved sports with a passion. Anything that was a ball rolling around, Johnny was there. But there was only one problem. I was the smallest kid. Okay, I was the shortest kid. I was the smallest kid. I was the slowest kid. Okay, bad combination. And on top of that, the girls told me that I was the ugliest kid. All right? It was pretty bad. My girl up here said, oh, she feels my pain. And seriously, it was some pain. Because y'all know what I'm talking about, because you all are brutal. And when I say you all, as a whole, students, y'all will give it to them when they're that way, right? Right? Yes. Thank you. I was getting it. I was getting it from everywhere, and as a result of that, my self-esteem was at a low. Okay, I was an underdog. There was no way that things was going to be fun for me, and as a result of that, I hold this box. I carry this box because, like I said, it means a lot to me. Because this is what we do, young people. We look at things. You know, society tells us that we need to look good, right? Society tells us that everything has to go around our appearance. And so as a result of that, I bought into it. A lot of you are buying into it. And as a result, it goes in our box. So here's my question. What is in your box? Box meaning your heart. What is in there? What is the single most motivating factor that makes you do what you do, say what you say on a daily basis? And a lot of y'all don't even think about this being at such a young age, and a lot of adults don't even think about this, but the question is, what is it when you get up in the morning? Guys, what is it when you get up in the morning? Ladies, what is it that you have on your heart that makes you do the things you do, say the things you say on a daily basis? That's what I want to challenge you with this morning, because there's something. And that's that identity. It's an identity deal that goes on in our lives that causes us to do those things. Mine was getting approval of people. Because I wasn't getting that. Growing up, like I said, I was always the slowest, always the shortest. I was never in there, and I was always the last, wasn't getting picked for on a basketball team or a sporting team. I was the last one. Because I was the last one, I got picked. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Is it anybody? Don't raise your hands. But does anybody know what I'm talking about? That was Johnny. And as you can imagine, things were not right for me internally. And so, what did I do? I cried a lot. Guys looking like, man, you cried. When I was by myself, you know, me in my room by myself, I cried a lot. And some of you probably do too, but you'll never tell. See, I would never told this 30 years ago, okay? But I did, cried a lot, did a lot of searching, did a lot of, and I want y'all to understand this. I was a church-going young man, moved around a lot in the unstable environment, all of those things. That's that underdog mentality that things wasn't going right. But everywhere we went, I was in church. My mom had us in church. And so there was a lot of soul searching going on, wondering what's going on with me. If this God is so loving and so kind, why is it that my dad is not here? You know, why isn't anything going right for us? And those are the things that I pondered and I really was searching for. And today, right here today, a lot of you guys are searching for something. And it's because of what is in your box. The single most motivating factor in your life, what is it? In Colossians, there's a scripture in the Bible, Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. It says, whatever that you do it as unto the Lord and not for man. Whatever you do it as unto the Lord and not for man. And then there's another one in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, which is my favorite, one of my favorites. It says this, above anything else, guard your heart, because out of your heart flows the issues of life. Guard your heart, because out of your heart flows the issues of life. So if this is your heart, and the things that are going into your heart, and I want y'all to understand this, the things that went into my heart, into my box, low self-esteem, people telling me that I wasn't going to be anything because I was an underdog, all this stuff was trapped into my heart, and as a result of that, there was fear. You know, along with low self-esteem, there comes fear. It allows you to stay imprisoned within your own self. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It allows us to not prosper. But see, I came here to tell y'all some good news. Y'all want to hear some good news? It's a lie. Okay? The enemy, Satan, lies to us when we are searching for man's approval. So, whatever you do it as unto who? The Lord, and not for man. And when I finally got a grasp of that, there was some freedom that came upon me. Everybody say freedom. Freedom. It's nothing like it. But the only way that we can be free, young people, listen to this, the only way that you can be free is if you have Jesus in your box. Whatever it is that's in your box, this is what I want you to do today. When you leave this room, I want you to critically evaluate yourself. Not where you want in your box, what is in your box. You got to be totally honest with you. See, because me, like I said, I was a churchgoer. Every Sunday I was in somebody's church. And that was the trick. That was the trick to me that showed me and said, okay, well, you're in church every Sunday. You're good. Okay? You're doing all the right things. But what I found out over the years was that it takes a relationship. It's about a relationship. It's not just going to church. It's not just doing the right things. It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ by knowing who He is, reading His Word, spending time with Him, praying and doing all those things, and all of a sudden change will start falling. It took a long time for me. It wasn't until my college years when I finally ran to God and said, hey, look, I can't do this anymore. Because what happened was, I told you I was slow and I was little, and something happened around my junior year of high school, between my summer year of my junior and senior year. For God's reason, I started growing. I got a little bit faster, stronger, and some of the girls said prettier. But I'll take that, okay? And just things started happening, and it was sports. You know, I always loved it, had the passion for it, and it just caught up with me. But what I've realized since then was that was God's timing, and it wasn't mine. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Man, God capable. I'm like, man, why couldn't you do this a long time ago? But that wasn't for him. That was for me. That was for Johnny. And I want each one of y'all to know right now, God has a plan for you. You personally. Don't try to be somebody else. Because He has a divine plan for you. There's a plan, that there's something out in this hall, a problem, an issue, a concern, that only you, with your name all over it. Nobody else can do it. Okay, and I'm going to close with this story, and I start talking about this. Some of the football players, I told them about this the other day. It's a story in the Bible that I love, that it's about the parable of the talents. And the parable of the talents was about 3 guys that was given bags of money. One of them was given 5 bags of money, one was given 2 bags, and one was given 1 bag. And it was given to them according to their ability. And when the master told them to do something with this money, and upon his return, he was going to settle the accounts. And what he did was, when he came back from the trip, he went to the first guy and he said, hey, what did you do with those 5 bags? And he said, sir, I got you 5 more. So he had a total of 10. And the master told him, great job, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful over a little, I will make you master over many. And then he went to the one with the 2 bags and he did the same thing. Master, I got you 2 more. But then when he went to the one guy, what did you do with it? And he said, Master, I know how hard you worked for your money. I was afraid, and so I hid it. And he told him, he said, you lazy servant. And this is what the Bible is talking about. This story, this parable here is equivalent to our life. God has given each one of us something, gifts, talents. We have to nurture those. You have to be patient with what God has given you. And you have to be like those first 2 guys and go to work with what you have and not be fearful and bury the one that the one guy did. Because what happened is he took the one that hid his talent and gave it to the one that had 5. So what happens is that when you are doing what you're supposed to do, God will multiply. But it's in His time. You understand what I'm saying? It's in His time. That means when you're going out in the halls and you are a Christian, you love God, and you are standing up for what you believe in. Not beating people over the head with the Bible, okay? You're standing up by being an example, a godly example. That's what God is required of us, to go out and make disciples right out here in this hall by your examples. So if you're fearful, which I was, if you're fearful of doing that, you need to be praying to God. And you may be even not a Christian in here. And you may want to know what it is. What does that mean? There's people here, Scott with FCA. You know, we got coaches here that they're here to help you. Miss Baum, they're here to help you. To show you what this kind of thing means. But you know what? But it starts with this. What's in your box? You got to be critically honest with what is in your box here. Okay? And I guess that's my cue to shut up. But listen, before we leave, I want to pray with everybody, okay? Okay, so you bow your heads, and while you bow your heads, I want you to think about what we've talked about. I want you to just really challenge yourself on this. Where am I? What is in my box? What is the